Hi guys, it's me, Natalia from La Iglesia Presbiteriana Hispana, the Patterson, and this message is for our youth group. You guys know when we were together in church, sometimes we just had a conversation, and sometimes I would use this little jar of questions for teens, and I thought, let's see if I can find one that I can still use virtually. And the first one I picked was perfect. It says, family traditions are passed on from one generation to another. If you were to create a new tradition, what would it be? And I started thinking, we all have family traditions, whether we know them or not, but we also have traditions in our church. Some of our traditions that we have at church are, the merienda every Sunday, our snack after the service. Not every church does that. Something we traditionally do. Sometimes it's about the 4 baskets we make for Thanksgiving. That's another tradition that we have been doing for years and years. Our Thanksgiving breakfast is another one where we go have our service, but then we have a delicious Thanksgiving breakfast together and we give thanks together on that day. And one of my favorites is that Santa Claus usually comes around Christmas time to give all the kids in our church a present. Those are all traditions that we hold as a church. As a family, myself, we have a few traditions too. I had to write them down because there's so many. But one of them is at Thanksgiving in my house, we always put a place card so everybody knows where they sit. But it's not just the person's name. We put why we're thankful for that person in the card. So when we were little, my mom did all the cards for everybody. And then as I got older, I started doing the cards. And as I have gotten older and my cousins have grown up, they're the ones now doing the Thanksgiving cards. So it's a beautiful little gift that's so simple, a beautiful little tradition that anybody can do. So it's been a lot of fun including that and being a part of that tradition. Another tradition that we hold, especially as Latinos, is putting an empty box under the bed for 3 kings, expecting a gift or a token from the 3 kings that come to visit at night. And I remember doing that since I was a little girl, putting carrots even for the camels that were going to come and leave me gifts with the 3 kings. And it's a tradition that I still do to this day, even though I'm a lot older than what I was when I was a kid. It's been a fun tradition to uphold, and now as an older person, it's nice to be able to extend that tradition to my parents and do it for them. But the traditions I want to talk about today are the traditions that Jesus left us. And there are 3 traditions that are really important that he left us before going back to heaven to be with God. And the first one he talked about a lot was prayer. He always prayed before a meal, before performing a miracle, before doing anything difficult. He prayed. And he wants us to hold that tradition too, and praying to connect with God constantly. Another tradition he gave us is giving thanks. He always thanked God before he did a miracle, before eating. And it was to show us and teach us to be grateful. It's a tradition that is very important even today, to be thankful for anything and everything. And the last tradition that is really important is communion, la Santa Cena, which we celebrated today. And it was Día de Comunión Mundial. It was, the world's communion. And at church, we usually have different breads that we can have at communion from different countries, especially our own countries. But that's one of the biggest traditions that Jesus left us. It's something that we do in memory of him, to remember the sacrifice he made and the possibility and the absolute chance to give us redemption and salvation by his sacrifice. And a tradition that we continue to do even virtually, having Santa Cena together. So You know, we always have to tie it in with a Bible verse. And the verse I'm going to share with you today is from the 1 Corinthians 11, verse 2. And it says, I praise you because you remember me in everything and hold fast to the traditions, just as I handed them to you. Just like your families hand down traditions to you, whether it's teaching you how to make tamales, teaching you how to make a flan, whether it's teaching you how to sew a dress, whether it's how you're going to cook the food and do your rice. Let's also continue Jesus's traditions: prayer, communion, and being grateful. He gave us these traditions. Let's honor him and do them. I hope you can do some of them every day. Prayer, simple conversation with God. Communion, not so much a Santa Cena, but remembering him and how he saved us, and giving thanks and being grateful because he has given us so much. Let us continue to do his traditions. And until we see each other again, know that I miss you and I love you. So please take care. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.